Hi guys, this is Scribbly again, today with a notebook review. And as you can already see, the notebook that I wanted to talk about today is Leuchtturm1917 notebook. The version that I have laying right here in front of me is the marine colored B5 size notebook, or composition as they call it. They call the B5 size composition size. This is one of their later additions to their notebook lineup. I believe it came out in the beginning of the year or somewhere in the beginning of the year. And what I wanted to do in this review, I wanted to make that a slightly different review. What I will do here is I'll talk a little bit about the notebook. I'll do some size comparisons to other Leuchtturm notebooks that I have here at hand, and then because many people, especially in the bullet journaling community, many people do use those Leuchtturm notebooks, but many people who use them, but who maybe also do not use them, often wonder about the ink friendliness or fountain pen friendliness of that paper. So after covering the notebook and do some small size comparison to other notebooks of the existing Leuchtturm lineup, I wanted to focus the better part or the second half of that review to show you a little bit, or try to show you how ink behaves on that paper here. So first of all, as already said, this is the B5 composition size notebook in marine. This notebook here, I think, is available in like 5, 6 or 7 other colors. I don't remember the colors right now, but you can of course check them out on the website. This one here is the marine color. It's what they call a slim version, and I think this is the only version that one here is available in. Slim version means that it sports 121 pages, I think, as opposed to the regular size notebooks like the Master and Master Classic, that is A4 Plus, is also available in 121 pages, but then the normal or regular size with 249 pages. And the same applies to the medium notebook that normally is also available in 249 pages, and so on. So this is the slim version, and I think it's only available as a slim version, the B4 composition size here with 121 pages. And of course, as all the Leuchtturm notebooks, the pages are numbered. I got the dot grid version here because I wanted to try the B5 size for bullet journaling. Normally I do A5 or medium size bullet journaling, but I wanted to try if I've not yet worked with that one yet, and I'll do another review maybe in a couple of months down the road once I tried it for bullet journaling, how the B5 composition size works for that. So that's why I got the dot grid version for that. And so this here is a soft cover. And I'll try to show that to you here a little bit. And it's really a nice soft grip. It almost feels leathery, but of course it's not. But it's really a nice, soft, very soft, smooth grip that it has to it. So really, really feels quality. It's really a pleasure to touch. And then, as said, the color is marine. And as to the other specs here, I already said that 121 numbered pages. As all the other Leuchtturm notebooks, it has a blank table of contents in the beginning, 8 perforated and detachable sheets at the back of the notebook, as well as the expandable pocket. It has page markers and a closure elastic. The newer Leuchtturm notebooks have 2 page markers, one in the color of the notebook and another one in gray in the color of the notebook. The older notebooks only have 1 page marker, and I believe the page marker was a bit wider. It's of course thread bound. That means it can lay flat and open flat and lay flat in front of your table. Has some stickers for labeling, link and archiving. The dimensions are 178 times 254 millimeters, which is the B5 composition size. And then the ink-proof paper, and we'll get to that in the second part of the review. And then the paper is also acid-free. So that's that. Then let's open the notebook and just flip through it briefly. I remove that stuff here. Don't need that anymore. Just throw it away. At the back side, you see, do you see it? Yes, you can see it. Leuchtturm1917 or 1917 embossed at the back side of the notebook. Then when you open the notebook, you'll get a small Leuchtturm brochure with some specs on what rulings and whatever and sizes they have available. I'll do that slow so you can pause the video and have a look at that and read it if you feel like reading it. And the other side, so I don't have to go through that, you may well just pause the video and have a look at the company history and their original company building and whatever. So that's that little brochure. Then what more do we have? A thank you card. Thank you very much for purchasing a Leuchtturm product. You're welcome, and thanks for the thank you card. So then what more do we have? We can add name and address in the beginning of the notebook. A first blank page. Then of course we have the table of contents here, which allows you to write in your contents. That is, I believe, 3 pages or so exactly. And then we just have the dot grid here and the page numbers. And that's how the whole notebook then will look like. Leuchtturm1917 here again. Some other small stuff standing here. And then at the back of the notebook, we have a pretty large expandable back pocket. I can easily get my whole hand into that. And then you have those stickers here with which you can archive your notebook. You'll just stick that in front of the notebook or one here at the back of the notebook, and that's how you can archive your notebook to always see what you have in your notebook. So that's pretty much it with the notebook itself. So now I wanted to do some quick size comparisons to other Leuchtturm notebooks. First of all, I'll throw in, and that's a bit difficult to fit onto the camera because it's that large. That is the A4 Plus or Master Slim version that they have. It's also 121 pages. It's A4 Plus size, and that is the army green color, which I believe came out towards the end of last year. So I'll put the B5 on top of it for you to see that, and I'll have to shift that around a little bit so that you can actually really see the whole thing. I believe you can't really see it on the camera because it's so large and the camera is a little bit close so that you can also see the rest. But anyway, I think you get an idea of it. Then I do have a medium or A5 version, which actually is the hardcover. 249 pages with that one, and you can see a sticker on here. This is my what I call ink journal, and it's called ink journal because that's where I do all my ink reviews. And I do all my ink reviews in here because I normally in everyday life use Leuchtturm notebooks, and I of course want to see what the ink looks like on Leuchtturm notebooks, and they are very, very fountain pen friendly paper. You can already see that here. There's with most of the inks that I've tested on Leuchtturm paper, and of course the B5 has similar paper, a B5 composition. There's only a little bit of ghosting, which is of course normal, but there's no bleed through and whatsoever. So you see that with different inks here. You can see all those ink reviews on my website scribbly.org, of course, and I'll do a close-up writing sample in the B5 in a minute. So that's why I use Leuchtturm also as my ink journal, as to test how the inks will look in, what the ink would look like on Leuchtturm paper. So that is the A5 medium, and then I've never used this one here, is their, I think they call that pocket size, also 249 pages. And this is of course A6, and I think then there's a A7 mini or whatever that is called available, which I don't have here. So that should serve as a little size comparison for you to get an impression of how the Pocket A6, medium A5, B5 Composition, and A4 Plus Master Slim. How those compare to each other? Well, so let's throw all of those others out of the picture here. And what I will do now is show you a little bit how ink looks like or performs, and I'll flip to the last page of the notebook for that. Looks like or performs on Leuchtturm paper. And what I will do is I'll compare that to, I'll do the same writing that I do on the left page on a piece of regular standard white copy paper. So you also already see also the what is it called, paper color. So this is regular white copy standard paper, 80 grams, quite ink absorbent and all that. And that here is like the creamish ivory sort of Leuchtturm color. And I have a bunch of fountain pens here, and I'll write with a couple of them for you to see how the ink behaves and a comparison and stuff. And also to those that visit my page and my blog a little bit more regular, this is a couple of fountain pens that I have lined up for review for the next couple of weeks. So I'm using those right now, and I've been using some of them for a couple of weeks already, or days. And so these are some of the next fountain pens that you can expect on my page for review. So what I will do now is I'll turn the camera a little bit so that you can really see the writing, and I'll try to get the camera focused on the paper. Let's see how that works. I hope you can really see that. This is now just really an experiment, and if it's not going to work, I'll cut it out in the end. So I'll try to show you how different fountain pens and the ink behave on paper when writing. And I start with a broad-nibbed Platinum Nice Pur, and the ink that I use here is Iroshizuku Yamaguri Brown, I guess. So let's see if I have to zoom in a bit more here. Yeah. So let's start writing, and I'll just do a little writing, not a lot, because of course I want to try a couple of pens. So Platinum Century with a B nib, and then let me lay down a little bit of ink so you really see the ink flowing here, and let you see a little bit of the ink properties, right? You see that? Try to zoom in a little bit. Yeah, I mean the ink really looks nice. It really lays sort of on the surface of the paper. And if I try to write as a comparison on that paper here, Platinum Century, you should see that the ink gets absorbed much faster. And we'll compare at the end again when the ink has dried in. You should also be able to see that there's much more shading and all that on the Leuchtturm paper. So the next pen I'll use is Lamy 2000 with I think it's diamond gray that I have in here. Yeah, it's diamond gray. So, and it's a fine nib, Lamy 2000 with an F nib. And let's also do some small swap here. Put down some ink. And now as a comparison, I'll do the same on this paper here, on this regular paper. You should also see the ink flattening out pretty quick. Fine nib on this regular paper here, and you should see a little bit more nice shading and ink properties on the Leuchtturm paper. Next, and I think here you can see it quite explicitly, this is the new TWSBI Echo or Eco in clear, and I loaded it with Pelikan Amber, and something that you can see, I hope, I noticed that when I write is, I mean, that's of course part the ink and partly it's the paper, is that in the beginning the ink looks pretty light, and as soon as it dries in it starts looking a little bit darker, which also has to do with the paper, not only with the ink. So this is the TWSBI, and you really see the shading here. You can really see that here. TWSBI Echo, this is a medium nib that it has on. And let's also put down some ink here. See that? I mean, you definitely see the shading here, and you see the shading here and there. So let's compare that to what it would look like on regular paper. There's also some shading, but I think that you can see pretty clearly that as soon as the ink dries, also the shading sort of disappears. And then as a last fountain pen and color, we try the Waterman. I don't even know what that one is called. Elite something, I guess. And that has the Waterman. It's also a medium nib, a quite wide running, broad running medium nib. And that one is loaded with the Waterman ink cartridge that came with it. I hope it's the Waterman Elite. I write that here. If not, please excuse me, then I'm mistaken. Waterman Elite or Luxury or something. I don't remember what it's called. You'll see it in the upcoming ink review. I'll look it up again. Since this is a quite wet writer, you can really see, you see that the ink laying on the surface of the paper, and for quite a while. And if I do the same here on this white paper, that pen here has a little bit of problem on downstrokes. On the first downstroke, you also saw that up here I had a problem. As always, it skips a little bit. Waterman, let's call it Elite. I hope it's called Elite. Medium nib. It always skips on the downstroke. And put down some ink here. And if I also now do the same, yeah, I mean, paper doesn't absorb that quickly. But so let's focus the camera a bit more. That's the maximum focus I can get, and try to look at the ink again. And I do believe that one can see a difference. This was the Lamy. Right, I mean, you see a difference in the way the color appears, and you see a difference in shading. TWSBI Eco, you really see a difference in shading with that ink. That paper here almost absorbed the whole shading. You still see some rest shading, but it absorbed a lot of the shading. And here you can see really a lot of shading left. And finally, the Waterman Elite. Let's see if we can look at that from a slightly different angle again. So I do think that that paper of the Leuchtturm really behaves very well with ink. And again, here you see shading, but there's ghosting, but there is no bleed through of the paper. So that was that with the Leuchtturm B5 composition size review, with a little focus on fountain pen and ink friendliness. I hope the review was useful to you, and I'll see you at the next review. Bye bye.